Hello, everybody. My name's Kevin. I'm sure if you've seen this site before, you've seen lots of videos posted, and I thought I'd do something different now by doing a little bit of a blog post and seeing how it goes. I've had cameras going for quite a while in my diving, but I'm going to try and repurpose some of these cameras and use them towards blogging. We'll see how this goes and how well I move forward on this project. Hopefully, I get anxious to do this every week as I go through my diving, or some weekends where I don't have my diving. But on that note, let's push play and go. For the dive for this weekend, February 22nd, 2014. It was just good to get back in the water. It'd been a while, well, not that long of a while. I'd done a big tech dive the week prior. But this time we kind of reversed it and went back to the breakwater, the good old breakwater, San Carlos Beach. My dive partner was Matt Vieta, who I'd actually taken a class with recently, which was a lot of fun. And what can you say about the breakwater? Some people say, oh, it's what everybody goes to learn. It's kind of the same thing over and over again. But it's still, every upon occasion, and why it probably gets into why I dive and why I dive in general, is it surprises you. And this was definitely one of those dives where it definitely surprised me. It started out with the weather was gorgeous. Couldn't complain about the weather. Blue skies. Felt like it was spring or summertime coming in there, which was actually really nice. Nice flat seas. You see the various classes washing in and washing out as the day gets started, and everybody seemed very excited, as opposed to the gloomy days when everybody just feels colder. So the water felt warm. Everything else. Our plan was to go out to the barge, a good old barge that we've done many times before, and then jump west from there and scooter over to the Maturidium Fields, goof around there for a while, see what we can see, and then come back in. So I decided to lead, or we decided to lead, or you decided to let me lead the first part, so I took our way out, and I was kind of curious. I hadn't been to the barge in probably 2-3 years by now, so it was kind of nice to know that I had my way out there. Found the cinder block, as you're supposed to do. That's one of the first landmarks you find out the way out there, to jump out to the line. It's about 50 feet off the breakwater wall and heads on out. So it's kind of exciting and a good feeling to know, even after all those years, you can kind of scooter out and see the same landmarks and find them. That's for sure. The line is getting kind of old, and we noticed that some people had put out some newer line too. So that was sitting a little bit off the bottom. It was kind of nice to see. I think that might have been our original line from probably about 4, 5, 6, maybe even longer years ago, when Rob, Alice, and I did an epic dive to go replace the line out there. But at any rate, we kind of scooted out. Gorgeous viz. I'd say probably in the 30 to 40 foot range. I don't know. I always feel like I think it's a little bit more than it is. Got out to the barge, and it's, you know, the barge keeps moving along. It's right there. It's probably deteriorating a little bit more than when I first started diving it about almost 10 years ago now. But what can I say? Immediately when we got out there, we started finding life. The fish life was darn pretty good out there. It was really interesting that on the way out, and there, God, some of them must have been football size or bigger. I was looking them up in the field guide, and I'm going to butcher their names here. They call them Pleurobranche californica. I'll put a picture of the links in there, but they're really gorgeous. And the first one I saw was moving pretty fast. I mean, it was almost like he was booking along there, like he had to go somewhere. And when we got out to the barge, I think we saw the biggest one I ever saw. He must have been, you know, yay big or something like that. So big it was sort of like I had to signal to my dive partner, hey, come over here and look at this guy, because you know, if I met him in a dark alley, I don't know if I would win that fight. Other great thing that we saw out there is wolf eels. Wolf eels. I've never seen wolf eels out at the breakwater. How exciting is that? We saw 3 of them. I was getting a little jealous because Matt was the one who was calling me over to show me the wolf eels, and he showed me 2, and I got a little bit jealous, but lucky enough I got to see one myself. Or I got to find one myself, so I got to at least return the favor and signal to him with my light to come on over and go see this wolf eel. Yeah, we goofed around there for about 30 minutes, and then we elected to say, okay, let's join up, and we'll head east, and we'll scooter on over to the Metridium Fields. It's about a 4 or 5 minute scooter, nothing too bad. You just kind of follow those contours on over. Kind of nice to see the Metridium Fields appear out of the nowhere, and those ghostly white sea anemones is always an interesting sight to see, and it's always very interesting to see how kind of congregate in that one area but don't really spread out too much. And we saw another wolf eel over there, and this was kind of a different one. It was he was red, so I think that might mean either the juvenile or a female. I'm not really too sure what, but it was very exciting to see another wolf eel with his big snaggly teeth out there. And then I just admit I will start to get a little bit silly because I saw a lot of crabs, and I just love crabs because I don't know, they're the funniest things, especially the sheep's head crabs, because they're generally so mellow. I mean, yeah, they got pinchers, but they're not there to pinch you. They're just there to have a good time. So what can I say? I had a good time with them, too, as well, seeing them. We had a great couple good sea lion experiences that they came down and bombarded us from about 50 feet of depth, which is always a nice experience to see. And then we kind of goofed around there a little bit more, and then that's probably about 80 minutes or so, 70, 80 minutes, something like that. I think we were both saying, all right, maybe we're getting a little bit cold. Maybe it's time to kind of head back in. And I had a brief discussion with Matt, which was kind of interesting when I was through signaling. I was like, okay, let's cut the corner back and come the triangle. And I think Matt had different ideas and said, no, let's go and make a P shape. So, either we're going to do this, or we're going to do a P shape. And so he did the P shape. And I'll admit at one point I was like, I don't know, I think maybe we go in the right direction. And just about the point when I says, all right, maybe I better ask him again, make sure we know we're going in that right direction. Boom, I look down and there's the pipe. So, the pipe is what normally people use to take in and out, which was a great experience. And I had to laugh on that too as well, because it's just sort of like, just when you think, oh no, maybe we're going the wrong direction, boom, there you go, and there's your way out. So we ended up clipping off our scooters again and just kind of kicking out along the pipe, seeing if there's anything interesting to see. From what I remember before, it's pretty well scoured now. It was kind of interesting. There was a little creatures, and I think at one point he called me over to see a fringe head or something of that nature. It was a cute little fish who, of course, immediately start liking it, gets a little bit shy and tucks into his hole. Eventually, we kind of left that reef and headed on over back along the depth contour, probably around the 20 foot range. And we stopped at one point, and wow, big, huge kelp strands, just covered in those lion's mane nudibranchs. I think their official term is, I'm going to butcher it again here, Clinton will get mad at me, Melibe leonine, something like that. I guess it's lion's head. Really neat things, because they have these big oral cavities that they look almost like Venus flytraps, that they go like this and spread out, and then I guess they filter in all the water, and they do it very constantly, so they're very active. Probably from about 20 feet almost all the way to the surface on these kelp strands. Just absolutely covered it, and very good. I was doing a little bit of research. I always thought it was very funny. It was like in the Wikipedia article, it talks about them, and it says they have a sweet fruity aroma when removed from the water, which is sort of like, who removes these things from the water, and why do they say it has a sweet fruity aroma? Kind of makes me want to do it too, but they look so cute in there, and I'd hate to actually hurt one, because I don't think it would survive out of the water very long. Any rate, we kind of, after that point, just kind of goofed off a little bit more. I practiced my barrel rolls, as they say. I hadn't done some in a very long time. It was nice looking up and seeing that water and the sun glisten on the surface, which also signals great viz. Hit the wall, and of course just headed back in from there. Total dive time was probably about the 90 to 100 minutes time frame. Just a good time. It was nice getting back in the water, but even more than that, nice getting back into breakwater after a tougher experience I had there about a month or two ago when I got rolled by some pretty big waves. So all in all, just a great day, and of course we ended it with having some clam chowder over at Vivalo's, or the Chowda House, as I always say, Chowda. So at any rate, that's it for today. Next weekend, we are on a tech boat. So cross your fingers, hope the weather goes well, and we're out there having a good time. It's looking right now like good viz, so as long as it continues, I think everybody's going to be happy. Anyway, take care, dive safe.